everybody? What up, everybody? Let's talk about it. It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. What up, everybody? It's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. Everybody, it's April Dawn. Let's talk about it. This is Lovecraft Country, Season 1, Episode 3. All right, y'all. It's a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of things. You already know it's going to be a long video. Get your snacks. I hope you got everything together. Welcome, my new viewers. Welcome. We're making our way through this. We're going to have to put our brains together because I was confused at some parts, but I've watched some things. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Start off this episode with Letty. She's in church. And so we know from the first episode, because when she went to sing with her sister Ruby, she said they hadn't sang in church in a really long time. So we know she hasn't been to church. So, you know, she died on the last episode. So if anything gonna bring you back to the church house, dying is probably the thing that's gonna bring you back. So she's sitting in the church and we hear a voiceover. Now the voiceover it's from a campaign Nike did in like 2017, I think, with a transgendered woman. And this is her speaking in spoken word. So she's speaking about what mark have you made in the world when you die? What mountains have you climbed? Like, what have you done? What has your impact been on yourself, your community, and everything around you? And then she's saying to herself, well, I want you to fly, just fly. And so we see a woman catching the Holy Ghost and, you know, going into it, and everybody shouting in the church. And we see Letty, she's sitting there crying. I'm not sure if this was the funeral of Uncle George or not. I'm not 100% sure. But, you know, here we are. In 1955, some Negro men and women moved into a house on the north side of Chicago. 10 days later, 3 people went missing inside of the house, never to be seen again. And pioneering is dangerous. And then we see day 1. So pioneering is something, it's called basically when black people move into a new, or when you go into doing something that no one like you has ever done before. So you're like the first person to do it. So this happened a lot in, you know, back in those times in the 50s when black people would move into a white neighborhood, and we all know what would happen. So I don't have to go into that in detail. So that pretty much happened, and they cite a real case, Trumbull Park or something like that. This is a real town in Chicago. This is a real part of town in Chicago that some black people moved into, and they were terrorized in their neighborhood. Something like what we're seeing today. So they do reference a lot of things that actually happened in real history. Everybody needs to look these things up and, you know, just kind of take note of the racism that's just American culture. You know what I'm saying? We see Letty, she's walking with her sister. She's telling her sister about all the money she done borrowed over the years, how many times she done bailed her out, and how much money she owes her, basically, and she wants to pay her back. She wants to return the favor. And so she says, how would you like to never pay rent again? And they walk up to this house. It's this big, beautiful house. And she's like, you know, I bought this house. And she's like, hold up, girl. I'm living for Ruby's character, low key. I love her, okay? Because she be getting Letty together, like with the good common good sense, you know? I like her. So she's like, girl, wait a minute, hold up. She's a little suspicious of the whole situation. Why you bring me up to this new house? Like, what is going on, sis? Letty kind of just plays it off and laughs it off, and they, you know, go inside and she's showing her around the place. When she gets inside of it, they're like, oh, okay, I see why, you know, you got it, because it's real raggedy. It's raggedy as hell. She's like, I know it don't look like much, but after we get it together, you know, I'm going to turn it into a boarding house. I want to help our people and, you know, our community and bring them in. Well, her sister's like, well, listen, this is the same part of town where Negro moved in and then they had a riot. And Ruby says she doesn't have time for any distractions because she's about to apply at Marshall Fields and she needs to concentrate on her resume. So Marshall Fields, I'm assuming, was considered a very good job to have. And a lot of black people didn't get jobs there. And her sister was trying to like get a job there. So she was working on her resume, trying to get it together. So she said she ain't got time for all this foolishness. And then Letty tells her, listen, you know, I really thought that I would get this place and I wanted us to be close sisters. And she says, I'll get you a new dress, or I'll make you a dress so you don't have to buy one for the interview, is what she's saying. And she's saying, you know, I'll help you with your resume. But I just really want you to move in here so we can have a chance to really bond being sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really want us to have a relationship with each other. So Ruby is like, well, you know, I'm going to get the biggest room. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what you was thinking, but I'm definitely going to get the biggest room. Letty tells her, I haven't even shown you the best part yet. There's an elevator. So they go over to the elevator. She opens the door. And when she looks down up in the elevator shaft, because the elevator isn't there, she looks up. The elevator is way up and it comes down and it almost kills her. So she draws back a little bit. And, you know, her sister is like, girl, you know what I'm saying? I don't think she said anything, actually. I think she was just shocked or whatever. They had a shock look on their face. I really enjoyed this episode. They had a lot of that Jordan Peele-esque, you know, scary type of music he had, and Us and Get Out and that type of music or whatever. So I really appreciated those touches they put in this episode. It really gave us a peek into the horror side of this show. We got the science fiction, we got the racial tension part, you know, so now we're getting a peek into like the horror side. We really got a lot of gore this week. So, you know, I appreciated it. You know, the bulging, the head. Later on, I'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Now we see Hippolyta. She's at home and she's putting on makeup, look like she's getting ready for the day. And she pulls out Dracula. You know, that's Uncle George's favorite book. And she opens the book to a certain page and she starts to pull the pages out. Now, some people are thinking that, you know, she pulled particular pages out. Why did she pull those particular pages out? But we can see that she pulls the particular pages out and she gets upset. I can see the anger in her face. Like, she knows something is wrong. You can tell in her gut she feels like something is up with the way her husband has died. So we hear that Tick and Dee are downstairs. They're making breakfast. So she goes down to make breakfast, and he kind of is doing the things that George does. Like, he made eggs for her. He helped her with finishing the edits for the book that needs to be done, you know, to get to the editor. Dee wants him to go with her. I love Dee's character. Like, the little girl who plays Dee is so cute. Like, I love her. So she wants to go look for some robot parts, but he's going to go stay somewhere else because he can start to feel that he's worn out his welcome. You know, they walk into the stove at the same time. You know, he put the cup up to dry and she flipped it down. And so, you know, you can tell that, you know, he reminds her of him. Not really. I mean, he does some things opposite of him, obviously, but, you know, he reminds her, and it's kind of making her uncomfortable. He's been there for 3 weeks, and you know that his funeral, we find out that his funeral was 3 weeks ago, so we know that Uncle George has been passed away for a little bit now. So, you know, Tick can feel that he's wearing out his welcome. Atticus tells them that he has some things to take care of, and he goes over to his father's house, and we hear a record playing that's scratching, and then we hear we see Daddy down there, what's his name, Montrose, laying on the floor. He's drunk, of course, and he's like recalling this story. The story is from the dream that Atticus saw when the very beginning of the first episode with the alien and Jackie Robinson or whatever. He was saying some of the same things that he says in that dream. So I think it's like a amalgamation. Thank you. Shout out. Okay, shout out to you. An amalgamation of all the things that he's experienced. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so he wakes his dad up with water, and you know, his daddy goes to like wipe his face off, and he puts on the record. Now, I know this record, y'all, because guess what? When I was in college a long time ago and I was a music major, I definitely sang Gretchen am Spinnrada. So the interesting thing about this song is by Franz Schubert. Okay, Schubert is the composer. He wrote a lot of songs. Kind of, you know, I don't want to say he's like the character, but he was a lonely guy, you know. He wrote a lot of love songs. He didn't write operas and stuff. He wrote a lot of art music. And so over 600 songs, they say. So this song, Gretchen am Spinnrada, is about a girl. It's the beginning of the romantic era of music. Okay, Western music we talking about, y'all, okay? So they cite this as one of the beginning songs of the romantic movement, the romantic era of music. It's about a girl named Gretchen, and she's singing about her love, and at the beginning the wheel is spinning slowly, and as she gets more and more excited, as she's talking about his hair and his skin and his eyes and then it slows down again. So the music goes along with the emotion of the singer, the words is what I'm trying to say. So and even when him and Tick start to argue back and forth, they go back and forth about what Uncle George would have wanted them to do. He says he feels weird about the fact that he's at the house with them and talking about Hippolyta and Dee, and he can't tell them what happened to Uncle George. And so Montrose is like, let's just forget about it. We just need to let it die. And he says Uncle George would say, we need to find out what's going on. You know, why all of this is happening. And so he stands up like he's going to hit him, and I would assume that back in the day when he was a child, he probably would hit him. But Tick stands up like, try something, do something. Okay, we're gonna make a move today. What time is it? Daddy backs down a bit, and Tick gets upset, and he walks out. I do want to note that when he walked in the house, he saw a picture on the wall. He was looking at something on the wall, and it was a picture of Dora right next to that or whatever. It's day 2 and we are back at the house. Everyone is moving in. It's moving day. She decided to move in on a Sunday so that the neighbors cannot stop her from moving in. So everybody's at church. The elevator still isn't working. They passed by a guy named James more than once in this episode. He was kind of cute too, I ain't gonna lie. And the guys were carrying a piano upstairs. She just kind of walking around, you know, trying to check on everything and supervising thing. One girl asked about some alterations to be made to the basement, and she says, no, I can't make any alterations per our installment agreement. Now, here's another history lesson. This is how they used to get over on black people or make you think that you're pioneering or moving into this new neighborhood, but really they're just getting over on you. So they would, instead of selling them the house, they would make them sign up for this installment loan. So anything that was wrong with the house, you had to pay for it. The contracts were basically ridiculous, and as soon as you missed a payment, you forfeited all the money that you gave, and you would get kicked out of your home. So this is a way they would make you think that you were owning some equity or, you know, gaining some generational wealth for your family, but actually they were just basically scamming us and, you know, getting money out of us and kicking us out the neighborhood anyway. Okay, for her installment agreement, she cannot make any alterations to the home. As everyone's coming into the home, I think that was James Baldwin, or the dog was named Baldwin, or the cat. I was like, you James Baldwin moving into your house? Okay, well, all right. And then she called her Ella too. I was like, is that Fitzgerald in Chicago? Is Ella over there? Hick shows up, and he says that he went over to Ruby's place to look for her, but she wasn't there, and she told him that you had hit the numbers and you moved to the north side. He was like, it's really nice. And so she seemed shocked to see him because he hasn't checked on her since George's funeral 3 weeks ago. Well, he says he's about to hit the road, and she's like, oh, you going back to Florida? He said, yeah, you know, I told my boss I was going to be gone for a few days, like a whole month ago. And he said Hippolyta is doing better, and so is Dee doing better. And she was like, well, you going to miss one hell of a house party here. We going to have the whole south side over here. And he was like, I bet that's going to make your neighbors real happy. She tells him that she has a room that she hasn't rented out yet, so, you know, he should at least stay for the party. He says, all right, and they go on and give a hug, and then we hear outside some cars honking. And so we walk outside the door, child, and here go the white people mad, honey. Just mad. You just trying to live your black life. Okay, that's it. And so they out there, and they have put bricks on the car horns in front of the yard or whatever. It's like 3 cars in a row, and they standing up there like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? We're white and we're right, and we want you to get out of here. And her sister walks out, and she says, oh my God, it's going to be another Trumbull Park all over again. Like I told y'all earlier, this was something when the black family moved into a white all white housing project. They tormented the black people. They threw stuff at their house, fireworks and stuff, and they reported to the police. The police didn't do nothing about it. We see the police ride by, and they kind of just, hey, how y'all doing? They give a nod to the people like, oh, all right, we see what's going on, but we racist too, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever. We don't want y'all here either. The next day, we see Letty waking up to the noise again, right? The horn. And so in the bed, she laying in the bed, and the sheet is on her, and then we see an arm come up, and they snatch her thing. And she snatches it back up, you know, she rolls over, and then we see a creepy face creep over. I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but the mouth was all messed up, and it was like a haircut, you know, it was giving me a Frederick Douglass tee, you know what I'm saying? So maybe it was like a man, but I couldn't tell. I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but that was when I got the jump scare, okay? I actually jumped, okay? When he snatched the thing or whatever, and she woke up, I actually jumped that time. So that was good. You got me good, okay? She wakes up, she goes over to the window, she sees that it's really, really loud, and she closes the window in frustration, and she sees that the radiator is really working hard, right? So the boiler down in the oven has apparently been turned up very, very high, so she takes the wrench, and she kind of like gets it, works it, and it goes back down, and she hears some banging in the basement. So the whole thing that just upset my whole spirit before we even get into it is why she ain't had no shoes on. Pray tell, why did she not have any socks, slippers, nothing? Like, I was like, girl, we cannot be walking around in the basement, girl, with no shoes on. Girl, could have been nails down there, girl. You could have got a splinter. Sis, I'm gonna need for you to put some shoes on your feet, girl. Oh, my whole spirit was like, oh my gosh, she ain't got no shoes on the whole time. So she started investigating. I'm sorry, y'all. I know that's just extra as hell, but it just, ooh, it upset my spirit. Why she ain't have no shoes on her feet? God, Jesus, no. Pray for her feet, Jesus. Lord, she gonna get a fungus, Lord. She walking through the basement, and she hear the noises, the banging, you know, the banging. She hears the banging. Okay, so she walking through the basement. I need help, I promise you. She get into the basement, and she like hears something banging. It's like something bouncing up and down, right? It's like another room down below the basement. So we see Atticus going down into the basement, and it's like a room down there. It looks like a dark room, or like a stone room or whatever, like a dungeon, bitch. So that's what it looked like. So they up in there. He was like, listen, I don't see nothing. I mean, it looked okay to me. She was like, nah. I heard it was voices coming up through here. Like I heard something. He says that maybe he will stay for a few nights. He's going to keep watch on the porch or whatever for the people. And he says excessive heat and excessive noise is how the taxes they used in Korea. And she was like, for what? And he was like, he didn't say anything. So I was just like, oh, okay, you just gonna act like, okay. He says he's gonna stay, and he's gonna keep watch for a few nights and kind of help her out or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, that's cool. So she goes to thank him. She goes to hold his hand, and he walks away from her, and he's like, well, I think this will maybe be a good dark room for you. And so she's like, she's saying yes, but you can tell like she's uneasy about wherever they are in this relationship and what's going on with her on the inside. All right, now it's the night of the housewarming party. Letty looks good, honey. That dress she had on was everything. She's walking through the house. She's serving drinks, honey. She's being a fabulous hostess. Everybody's getting pulled up. Things is going on. It's a little gossip going on. They talking about Martin Luther King was engaged to a white girl, and they made him marry a black girl. They say his name was it was something else, and then he had to change it to Martin. Child, I was like, child, I don't know. Is that the tea? Is that the tea about Martin Luther King? Now, we already know he was cheating on his wife. Now, was he cheating on his wife with a white woman? Now, I could believe that. You know what I'm saying? I could believe that. So, because Martin Luther King was really smart for his age. So I could see him put himself in an environment where he perhaps was around some young white girls that was his age, and he might have liked one of them. You know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't that old, y'all. He got killed when he was like 30-something years old. He was way younger than me when he got killed. So, like, I could see that, how that could happen, and be like, nah, son, you know what I mean? Like, we need you to be the young king, so we need you to have black love. So you're going to have to nix that in the, how in the 50s, you know what I mean? You had to do what you had to do. It was a different type of time. People ain't married. I mean, I'm sure they married for love, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you could marry just for a certain type of reason. She goes into the kitchen, and Hippolyta is there. She has bought some food over, and they're talking about kind of like how Tick is overstaying his welcome a little bit, like I said, and she's kind of annoyed with him turning his cup up, and she says, well, does he remind you of George? And she's like, no, he don't remind me. But I really think she was kind of like second guessing herself, like he does remind you of your husband, but you just don't want to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if she knows. I couldn't really tell. Do y'all think that she knows that he's his father, or do you think that she can tell that something is up? I think that she don't know. I think that she can tell that something is up. She says, no, he doesn't remind me. I'm just being foolish. So she says, have you seen Dee and her friends? And then we see Dee and her friends up at the top, honey. They are playing with the Ouija board. Now I said, now y'all know black people do not do this. Maybe they ain't know no better in the 1950s, but they got them a Ouija board, and they're going around, asking the Ouija board questions. So one boy asked the Ouija board, is his trip down south going to be fun? And the Ouija board says no. Now the people say that this boy was Emmett Till, and I'm going to be inclined to believe him, because if you look at a picture of Emmett Till, this outfit and everything, how he's dressed, this boy is dressed the same way, and he says, my trip down south, I think he says, my trip going to be fun. He might not say down south, but he said, is my trip going to be fun? And so they said no, and I was like, oh God, that put a whole different type of spin on the episode, right? And so another boy asked the question was, and I think that little boy was on Underground, if I'm not mistaken, y'all. Don't quote me on it, but I think he played the little brother Rosalie of Journey. Yeah, I think he played her little brother on Underground. So I might be wrong, but I think that's it. So anywho, he asks, who am I talking to? And the Ouija board says, George is dead. And so Dee gets really upset. She called them all assholes, and she stomps out of the room. And they say, we ain't do nothing. I mean, damn, we ain't do nothing. We ain't do nothing for real. So, I don't know if this is George trying to communicate. One of the house ghosts is trying to communicate. I don't know what's up with all of that. Then we see Hippolyta. She's looking for Diane. Okay, she's about to climb the steps to go to the attic, and then the door at the end of the hallway opens mysteriously by itself. And she walks down to the end of the hall, and inside of the room there is a table, and it has like this gold looking solar system model, and we see her being amazed by this, and she walks over to it and she begins to touch it, and then it cuts to something else. So I thought that it was interesting that the door opened for her. The door only opened for a couple of times for certain people when it wanted you to come in, basically, and she seems to be, it kind of seems to be like bait for her almost. So it'll be interesting to me to see how I think Christina is tied into this, like I said, as we find out at the end of the episode. And I kind of think she's sort of like a puppet master, and she's kind of, you know, pulling strings at this point. So we cut to Ruby. She's singing the song, baby. Ruby is getting down, and she looked it good, bitch, in her red dress. I was like, you better sing, girl, do it. Atticus arrives, or he's already there, I think, but he was on the porch. So he comes into the house, and he sees Letty dancing with that guy, James, I think, or another guy, and she's tearing it up or whatever. And this other dude comes, and over him, he asks him if he want a drink, and the guy says he wants to talk to him about Leticia, because, you know, him and Leticia used to tussle. You know, when he was in school, they used to tussle around, and he getting real, you know, nostalgic right now. So he trying to find out, like, bro, that's you? Like, I heard you staying over here rent-free. And he was like, and? You know, it was like Atticus wasn't clicking for him right there. And he was like, man, listen, if that's you, that's cool or whatever. But I think you need to go over there and let her know. Because she was over there getting down and dirty with this man, honey. They was dancing very nasty, very cute with it. And they did a oopie-doop on us, okay, to make you think, now, watch what you think. Watch your perception of people, okay? So cut to Letty going to the bathroom to, like, you know, you know, hit herself with some water, you know, freshen up a little bit. And here come Atticus, baby. He threw her up on that counter, honey. He came up in there. He was like, I'm about to tear down. I'm about to hit you with that flex. He gave her about 7 good pumps, honey. He pumped her for the guys. And now when I watched it twice and I know what happened, when we find out later, it made me watch the scene in a whole different type of way. I was very uncomfortable. Okay, watching the episode, I was like, oh, I know it. Oh, I'm thinking about my first time. I know, yeah. So I was thinking like, I don't feel good. Do that hurt? The look on her face was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm sure he wouldn't have done it that way if had he known that was her first time. So I hope they get a do-over so like they can, you know, make sweet, sweet love. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm hoping for them and her virginity. That's what I'm hoping for her. She sees that, you know, she's bleeding, and he's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. She's like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I didn't know I started my monthly. And he was like, no, it's okay. It's all right. So he puts his clothes on, and she's like, well, are you, you know, I'll see you downstairs. Like, she's kind of telling him to get out the room, and she's like, I'll see you downstairs. And he was like, oh, okay. Like, basically, let me get the fuck out, you know? So he gets out, and she starts to cry. So when I did see it the first time, it did take me back that she started crying. I was like, why is she crying now? What's going on with her? No, something else is going on with her. We hear Ruby talking to the guys about how she's black. And, you know, talking about the job at Marshall Fields. Like I was saying that, well, you know, they won't want to hire you because you're black. And she was like, yeah, but I'm willing to work harder than the rest. And if more people thought like us, you know, our race would be a lot farther. So, you know, her sister kind of prescribes to a respectability politics type of situation. And then she gets up and notices that there's a burning cross in the yard, okay? And that's when we about to... Baby, that Dorinda Clark Cole started playing, and I said, yes, God, we about to tear the roof off this sucker. Okay, we about to get everything the devil stole back from me, okay? You can't have my joy. You can't have my peace. We're gonna take it back. I want it all back. She got that bat, and I like how everybody just played their position. Like, bitch, play your position. Fall in. You know what to do.
Get the guns, bitch. Get the car, because when they finish with the guns, they're going to have to get up out of here. Get the kids. Take the kids home, because I'm about to fuck some shit up.
So she channeled her inner Beyonce, her Oshun. Okay, she put that on, and she got that bat. Because let me tell you something about the 1950s. If they ain't had nothing, bitch, they going to have a bat, bitch. If they ain't got nothing else, them niggas going to have a bat. Okay, white people got bats, black people got bats, bitches bats for everybody, okay? They beat the fuck out of shit with bats. Bitches got them some guns, honey. You feel me? She started busting that shit up, and I was like, girl, bust it up. Bust it up! Get it all back! And she busted all up. She busted up the windows. She busted out the horns. I was like, girl, do it, girl. Bust it. Bust it. Bust the windows out the car. She threw the bat at the white people like, bitch, I wish you would, okay? And she got on her knees, and, you know, they was gone ready to go to jail. Oh, on the way to jail, the officer is messing with her. Obviously, he's racist, okay? So he's asking her about who let her, or who told her to buy that house. Did somebody tell her to buy that house? It's something strange things happening in the house. And so then he's pull on the thing. He started banging her around the car. And she's like, she don't really know. He was like, you don't know what's going on with that house, do you? Well, if history is any indication, you know, y'all not going to be in that house for long because we found 8 dead earth. I was like, oh Lord, here we go with this. So it's something going on in the house that's really, really, really crazy. We do find out that it's the Winthrop house. They're calling it the Winthrop house for some reason. I think that's it, yeah. So we on day 9 now. Eddie is back in her house. She has turned that room into a dark room, and she's kind of like looking around at the pictures, and she starts to see lines in the pictures. So she starts to see these white lines in the picture. So she turns off the light, and the lines are like glowing. So she starts to put these lights together, and it forms this face, and the face jumps up out of the ground, and the face was like,
"Get out my house, bitch."
So, you know, it like blow her back onto the stairs or whatever, and she's all shocked about it. She runs upstairs. There's this picture on the wall. She takes a picture off the wall, and her sister is behind her. She says, listen, girl, the tenants are moving out because you done put a target on our back by busting up these people's car or whatever. And she says, oh, I still got a little money left over from mama's inheritance. Accidentally spills it, okay? I guess this was some type of secret. And Ruby was like, hold up, bitch, back it up. What you said? And she was like, basically she got a call from a lawyer, and the lawyer said that the mama had an inheritance, and so she went down there to get it, and she didn't tell them because she knew that it would hurt them. And she's like, well, why did she give it all to you? And she says, I don't know. I don't know. I'm tired of trying to figure out why mama did the crazy stuff she did. You know, all she did was look out for herself. And so if I was Ruby, I'd have been damn ass pissed too, okay? Like, girl, if you knew your mama gave us any type of money, you should have split it with your brother and me, regardless of what her wishes was. But you just like her. You worse than her, because all you do is look out for yourself. And if you was half the sister that you was trying to pretend to be, you would have split that money with us. So she was dead ass right. Letty was dead ass wrong, okay? Like, girl, you looking real funky out here. She said, to think all these years I thought I was helping you, sending you money because you was just a fuck up, but turns out you just fucked up. I was like, whoo, that was close, girl. That was rough. You see Montrose on the block. He drinking. He waiting for Hippolyta, and he asks, you know, she like, what you doing here? You know, he hop out the car. He offers to bring her groceries inside, and when he brings the groceries in, he drops some, and he sees that she has bought another Dracula book, and she lies and says she spilled some coffee on the other book. And well, she says that she saw his body. She saw the bullet hole that the policeman shot her, and you know, she know that they done took care of the man. She don't want to know nothing about it, but she says she just had this feeling that something is wrong, that Tick been here over here all this time, and she's just feeling like she's just walking around and it's something that he's hiding from her. And he was like, well, I'm not sure what you want me to say, you know, I told you what happened. And she was like, I know what you told me, you know what I'm saying, but it's something that's going wrong. It's something that's wrong. So she can tell, and some tell me she gonna find out what the hell is wrong before too long. Eddie, she's at a bar room, and Atticus comes in there to see her researching all these things about the house she's been researching. She tells him that the house is haunted, and he's like, well, walk me through it. I was like, oh, well, at least he gonna listen to her. That's cool. So he tells her about she tells him about the realtor and how he was kind of sketchy on the previous owner of the house, and they called it the Winthrop house. And she said she hasn't been able to get anything on the name, but she did see the last owner with the name was Epstein, and he was a scientist. Y'all see that Epstein, how they threw that in there, right? So he was a scientist, and he worked at a school until he got fired, or a hospital until he got fired for experimenting on human bodies. Well, there we go, the 8 bodies in the basement. She tells him about that, and she says the police captain was coming up as the head of a lot of missing cases on the south side of Chicago. So she thinks that the police officer that was taking her to jail, that he was supplying him with bodies that he could use to experiment on. She says she's looked through all the pictures that she took the last night, and she's found all of the faces of the people that were missing on the south side of Chicago. So she calls out all of their names. She says the restless souls, now they're trapped in her house and they won't out. And she understands why they won't out. And he says, well, if Uncle George was here, he would tell you that the ghosts basically are not going to be satisfied until you on the side with them. So it might be time for you to move out. And then she tells him the night of the housewarming was her first time, and he feels remorseful immediately about how he handled her. And she was like, no, it's okay. You know, I wanted it. It's okay. I needed it. I needed to feel something. She says she feels like ever since she's died and come back that she feels like a ghost. Like she feels like something is missing. She don't know. Now, I personally, my theory is that I think that she's kind of like a portal to the other side. Maybe there's something going to be going on with her character now that she's died and came back. We did kind of forget that she did pass pass away the last week and was brought back. So I think this is going to have some effects later on. And that's why she's been doing all these things like pioneering, like the church, like her sister, like this house, and like him. And she said she thought the world was one way and she found out that it isn't. And, you know, she's trying to find her place in this new world and make her stake her claim in it. So then we see this woman coming up to the house. She's kind of like a Creole witch doctor type of woman, right? So she comes up to the house with the goat, and we see the white neighbors peering through across the street. She cuts the goat's neck. The blood spills out. She puts the mark of the protection on both of their heads. And it was funny because Atticus looked at her like, girl, what the hell you got me mixed up in, okay? So they walk up in the house, and they go to the basement where, you know, the ghosts are. And so they start to do like a chant, and, you know, everything starts shaking or rumbling and shaking. You know, things start shaking. The lights is flickering, okay? Then we see the white people coming into the window. So they done bust the window. They done came into the house, right? And I said, the ghost about to get your ass, okay? They about to get y'all. Y'all done came in on the wrong night, baby. He hears some whispering voices in that same room that Hippolyta, the door opened for that one. So they opened the door, and I mean, he went into the room, and they like threw him on the table. Then they hear a baby crying, and they turn around, and it's like a little bitty ass baby head on the grown man body. Child, I screamed. What is this? And so they go to hit him, but then they like stumble back, and they had two what? Bats. Okay, they stumble back, and they fall on the radiator, and it kind of like burn them up. Okay, and so then we got another guy. He goes to the elevator, and so he opens the thing just like Letty did at the beginning of the episode. He leans his head in and he looks up. But then by the time he looked down, the elevator's coming up and does what? Knock his head off. And y'all, the blood squirted out that thing head for like 5 or 7 seconds. I was like, y'all are dragging it. Okay, come on, HBO. Now they out the way. They dead. Back in the basement, and we got, you know, we doing the chant. And, you know, things is moving. Things is shaking, honey. Everything starts to grumble and shake, and then it all calms down, right? And they take a breath, and they think it's over with, bitch. But no, we back for round 2. Shit get popping. Now, the lady is possessed. So her eyes turn, and she grabbed Atticus, and she tried to choke him up, and Letty's on the other side of the room like,
Oh shit, man, what are we gonna do, man? Oh my God, she finna choke him.
and so she like, Carl, Sam, Betsy, Madeline, Mildred, Tony, Tyrone, Jerome, come on out. We gonna combine the forces. And them hoes started coming out the corner, bitch. They was like, squad up, ho. We about to get this white devil up out of here, okay, sis? So they started coming together, honey, and they was like,
Nam go ho renge ko, nam go ho renge ko, nam go.
it was good though, because Journey was acting, bitch. I was like, bitch, you better act, okay? So they was doing the chant, they was in a circle, and you know, then the demon came, because it had got up in Atticus. Charlie had got up in Atticus, and let me tell you what he was like,
Get the fuck up, out. Get the
I was like, I was like, I rebuke this in the name of Jesus. Baby, I am alarmed, baby. I was scared. Oh, I bet that was scary when they was just filming it without the effects or whatever. I bet that looked so creepy when he was doing it. So anyway, they doing the nam yo ho renge ko, nam go ho renge ko. And then so they doing that, girl. And then the demon come on out, honey. The evil ghost. He come on out. He started disintegrating. And so they start coming back together, you know, like they was, you know, to their former self. You know, they former glory. So they come coming back together. And now they're together. And they're, you know, they go away. And Journey is by herself, you know, and everything is calm. They was playing Shirley Caesar. Yes, Satan, we gonna tear your kingdom down. My God, I was like, yes, come on, ancestors. Come on and help us, ancestors. Yes. So the next day we see her. She has a cute dress on. She's walking through. She's getting interviewed for the newspaper, I'm assuming. And they're talking about how she's doing this great thing for the community, giving low-income housing to the African Americans, you know, trying to do it up for the community on the north side. And she's like, oh, well, my sister is the one who inspired this. So, you know, her sister probably gone. She pissed. You know what I mean? And so then she takes the lady and she gets onto an elevator with her. And so they go to the elevator and they get off and they go on about their business. And then we see the elevator close. And then we see it go down, 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 okay? Below the basement. And then the door opens and we see the bodies down there. And then it goes around the corner and it's a whole bunch of bodies. Now, they found 8 bodies in the house. So that ain't the 8 bodies they found. That's some more bodies. So I don't know what's going on with that situation. Then we go over to Tick. Ticky has been following Christina, apparently. And so he finds out that she's at a lawyer's office, and guess what she's doing? he's packing up all his things because she has basically set this whole thing up. So she is the one who set it up so that Letty can receive this inheritance from her mother. So there was no inheritance. So she got this inheritance from her mother, and he kind of led her into buying this home, eased her, pushed her into buying this home. So all of these things can happen. So she tells him that Anthony Winthrop was a founding member of the Sons of Adam. And so he got kicked out because he stole some pages out of the Book of Names because he was jealous of, not Titus, he was jealous of her father having a cipher or whatever. He wanted to make his own cipher. So basically Titus, the Book of Names is gone, and Titus has locked up the pages in some type of, booby-trapped place. So they figured that by using Atticus or getting to Atticus, using his blood, finding out whatever it is, they can get to those pages, and the names, the Book of Names could be translated in its entirety, right? And so she tells him, let me know when you want to know more about our family legacy, because y'all know that's his cousin. So and then he tells her, because he did come in there with a gun like he was going to shoot her, because she started babbling off the history, and he was like, hold up, bitch, I came in here to kill you, bitch, leave my family alone. And so she had the power of the, Forceville, so she stopped him. And then after she tells this whole story, she tells him, you can't go around here killing white women, so you got to chill out with all of that. And so, like I said, I think Christina is working her master plan, honey. Whatever she got planned is going to be 10 times worse. Okay, 10 times worse, y'all. So the episode, like I said, it had a lot of jewels in the episode. Hopefully I got most of them. If nothing else, I gave you what happened in the episode. Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts about what happened. I'm sure at some point I have put my description, my IG. Please follow me on Instagram and see what I'm doing over there, y'all. This was a good episode. Yeah, like I said, I know I ain't got all the jokes for y'all, but we working it through. So I want to hear some of your theories. What do you think is going on? Some people think that Adam and Eve with the whole sex thing, because they wouldn't have showed us the blood, they wouldn't have let us know she was a virgin unless this was important in some way. I feel like it's going to be referenced at some point in the future. Some people are giving the Adam and Eve tea, Sons of Adam, you know what I mean? Virgin, baby, could possibly baby be. So what do y'all think about that? What do you think about Hippolyta? You've seen her in the Amazonian. You notice her name is Hippolyta. Her daughter's name is Diana, just like Wonder Woman. Okay, she had an Amazonian type situation going on, honey. Like, that was cute. Okay, I want to hear about Martin Luther King. Somebody go ask their mama, or their grandma. If you're older, it's your mama, but if you're younger, go ask your grandma about Martin Luther King, and do they have a rumor about him being engaged to a white woman? Because I want to know if this is true, okay? And my grandmother has passed away, so I need somebody to ask their grandmother, or like I said, their older mama. They got to be like in their 70s, you know what I mean? So you got to be grown to have a parent in your 70s. So you feel what I'm trying to say? So y'all have a blessed one. I will hit y'all next week. Like, comment, subscribe, share with all your friends, and I will holla at you next week. Peace.